Margaret, Carne, and I came to Jersey City when I was in my very early 40s. I soon discovered that there was this wonderful Italian neighborhood, and I started to shop there on Saturdays. It reminded me of my many visits to the Italian prisoners of war in my hometown in the UK when I was a little girl. So it was a lovely feeling to go back to this Italian environment. I would start my shopping quite early on Saturday mornings with my shopping cart, and my first stop would be at Fiore's, a wonderful deli which made their own mutts every morning. And if I got there around 7:30 or 8 a.m., it would be just fresh coming out of the hot water bath, and I would get my mutts warm and freshly made. It was a wonderful feeling. And so I would pack that up, and from there I would walk up the road on Newark Avenue to Pecoraro's, where I'd get this wonderful bread. They had a variety of breads that were just baked in the brick ovens in the back room. So I'd load up on bread, and then I'd walk just up the next corner to Brunswick Street and make a left turn. Brunswick Street was just full of Italian shops. But usually I would start out at the fish store. There was a very large fish shop, and it was run by an Italian man from a rather large family, I think, here local. And he had a huge selection of fish, which was just like a dream come true for me, because I grew up near fishing villages in the UK, in a place called Cornwall. So fish was a major part of my diet. From there, I would go to the coffee and tea shop, run by a woman, by herself, I believe, and there you could buy your coffee and your tea straight out of the crate. And she would just dip into this loose tea and weigh out the amount of tea that I wanted to buy. The other thing that I remember being able to get there was oregano on the branch, dried, but just as it was picked from the plant. Nowadays, when you go to buy oregano, it comes in a little glass jar with a cap on it. It was so nice to have this fresh oregano, and the fragrance of it would fill my kitchen. There was another shop that later became a record shop. In those days, I'm not even sure what I bought there, but they sold, it had been an apothecary shop. Most beautiful interior with a ladder that ran on rails to get to the highest shelves of the apothecary. Those are my memories of the little Italy of Jersey City. It was just a wonderful place that made me feel almost like I was back in my little village over in the UK where I grew up, and where we would go shopping to the specialty shops. We went to the butcher and the fish store and the bread shop. And so it was that way here. It was like a bit of old Europe. So on my way to my shopping on Saturdays, I would pass this building called Casa Colombo. And I always wondered what it was, but I never went inside to find out until maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. I read about it, I think, in the local paper, and I discovered that there were all kinds of things going on at Casa Colombo. Most of all, interest to me were the jazz concerts. But one year we came here for a Christmas concert, and it was wonderful to see a woman wearing her Italian costume and doing some traditional Italian dancing. I was also charmed by the museum here because I had also been an immigrant during World War II, and I was kind of familiar with that immigrant feeling, but here I saw it from the Italian perspective, and there's quite an interesting collection of objects here for anyone who is interested in the immigration experience.